Hi, and welcome to PowerViews. I'm Dan McDade, your host and president of PointClear. PowerViews is dedicated to finding solutions to some of today's toughest marketing and sales challenges. My guest today is Bob Perkins. Bob is an inside sales innovator, and he has extensive experience building and leading highly successful inside sales organizations. His 20 years experience includes positions as vice president or director with Unisys, Silicon Graphics, United Health Group, and currently Merrill Corporation. Bob is a sought-after consultant and a popular conference speaker, and he holds a Master's of Science degree in education from Nazareth College in Rochester, New York. Bob, welcome to PowerViews.
Thanks, Dan. It's great to be your guest today.
Well, thank you very much. I know you're calling in from cold Minneapolis, and we're getting the cold here soon, so I think probably most of the country is going to be seeing that. I wanted to start out, you founded, I guess, the AA-ISP, which to me has been a remarkably fast-growing organization, and it has become a very powerful organization. How have you seen inside sales evolve over the last few years?
Wow. We could probably talk about that all afternoon. There's been so much that's happened to the industry, to the profession of inside sales. I'd like to just go back a few years. If some of the audience here might recall that it wasn't that long ago. If I go back to the early 90s, about 20 years ago, where I got my start in inside sales, we were fighting for a place in the sales chain, if you will. We wanted to become a respected channel. We were trying all sorts of new things. There were so many skeptics back then that thought, well, inside sales, they can take an order on the phone, I guess, and maybe they can make an outbound call and try to get someone interested in something, but they couldn't close a complex sale. But what's happened over the last 20 years, we have proven the effectiveness of inside sales. And Dan, I believe that inside sales not only has its rightful place in the selling chain, if you will, but now is probably the first priority that an organization or a company will consider when determining its sales deployment and its sales model. So it's come a long way, and we have a long way to go. We still got a lot of work to do, but there's so much evidence around the maturing of inside sales. Salaries have increased, total earnings have increased, the profession itself has increased. If you really think about it, in the last probably decade, in the last 10 years, it's really been inside sales that has led the way with such things as modern day prospecting, email techniques, voicemail techniques, the adoption of social media. Really, that was inside sales that got using LinkedIn and all the research tools for prospecting. So we're not only here to stay, but we've made a huge impact. So it's very exciting to see the evolution.
How do you see that evolution now impacting field sales?
Well, we see the two different groups almost coming together. The line between inside sales and outside sales has become blurred. In fact, some of this is based on how customers want to interact with a sales rep today. Today, a customer can get a lot of their information online via the web. They can make a quick phone call. They can make a quick email to find out information. So what we are finding is that the many things that inside sales used and did so well, such as email, such as the use of the internet, virtual presentations, just like you and I are doing today via Skype, all of these things now are applicable to field sales because a lot of the customers are saying, hey, you don't have to come out here and drive a half an hour and use a conference room and spend an hour, but let's do a quick WebEx. So what we're finding is traditional field sales are now deploying many of those techniques that were thought of just exclusive to inside sales. So both channels, in a sense, are doing the same thing. So there's some overlap. The lines are blurred. Make no mistake about it, though. I believe firmly that it's tough to replace the handshake, the face-to-face meeting, And that's still a huge, important step in the sales process. In fact, inside sales can help accelerate that and can actually help field sales with finding more appointments, finding more people to go meet face-to-face. So there's still a distinction between the two.
You know, it's interesting. About 20 years ago, that I did a study for a large company, actually a Canadian-based company, and at that time they were having their sales rep visit every customer 6 times a year. And we told them that they needed to make this an evolution as opposed to a revolution, because they wanted to announce that, you know, instead of your field guy, we're going to assign you to an inside sales rep, and isn't that great? And we said that's probably a big mistake. But we did a benchmark customer satisfaction study, and at the end of a year, the average number of field rep visits was 2, and the average number of phone calls was 6. And they said that their customer satisfaction was higher because they were seeing the rep more. So, you know, just basically making contact and having somebody at your fingertips that you can get information from immediately is extremely important. How would you kind of characterize the state of the industry right now? Are all companies fully implementing this? Is it slow going? What do you see?
Well, it's interesting timing for that question. I'll be in an hour from now. I'll be on with a Canadian company that has yet to implement inside sales. We just completed a national inside sales survey sent out to 300,000 respondents, both leadership and inside sales frontline sales reps. It's amazing the challenges today. The state of the union today is there is a shortage of qualified talent. The last study we saw from CSO Insights said that the inside sales job growth rate was 14 times greater than that of field sales. So here's what's happened. We have more jobs being created. We also have higher expectations from inside sales. Not only do they need to talk good on the phone, but they have to be really good at WebEx. There's more solution selling. They're taking the sales cycle much further. In fact, here's another trend just found out in this survey, that companies are now migrating from team selling, which is the number one sales model from inside outside team selling. They're going a little bit more to a discrete model, meaning the inside sales rep is owning the whole sale and they're the only one being paid on it. But back to the challenges here, the state of the union is there's a shortage of qualified talent because more jobs created. Secondly, if you think about what I just shared, they got to be good at WebEx. They have to solution sell. They have to negotiate. They propose. They close. So higher skill, more jobs, and the demand is incredible. The supply is just short. So right behind finding and recruiting talent is training. I'm going to tell you this, 10 years ago, finding talent was not an issue. Mm-hmm. It was like 9 out of 10. What the issue was 10 years ago was selling the value of inside sales, getting senior leadership support. What comp plan do I deploy? What are the right metrics to measure? How do all these things, these tactical building blocks, those have gone away. Now they're replaced with the pains of an industry that's just exploded. So.
Well, years ago, probably even as few as just a few years ago, folks would go into inside sales as kind of a career path to field sales. And do you find that that's the case now, or what do you recommend to people about that? Is inside sales a good path to field sales, or is it now more of a path in and of its own?
Well, you bring up a good point, and you were spot on. 10, 15 years ago, inside sales was viewed as a stepping stone to the field, and it still is today, as I believe it should be. But here's what we're finding as far as a trend. We're seeing outside salespeople come to inside sales. We're finding that inside sales offers some benefits, such as not much of a need to travel, more regular hours, the ability to work from home virtually. My team here at Merrill, actually, a lot of them will work from home quite a bit because they have the ability to. So they find a quality of life. The pay and compensation has risen, and it's a great profession. So we're seeing a number of inside sales reps make that kind of their career, and they stick with it. they may look at getting into inside sales management as a career path or a senior rep as a career path. In fact, let me go back to the survey. Interestingly, we surveyed thousands of inside sales reps, and in the top three challenge was career advancement. They're staying there so long that they want career advancement, not always to the field. That's a great option. So we as an industry in the association, we're trying to get some of the leaders to really figure out a better way to provide career advancement opportunities.
How do you, just to kind of wrap up, what do you see that's happening today? What trends that are happening today do you see as kind of foretelling where things are going? I know we've talked about a couple of those things, but what else might you pass along?
Well, we are seeing some interesting trends that we weren't even 5 years ago. One I mentioned, I'll bring it up again. That is the going from a teaming model, which is still the majority. We had about 65% of the respondents said we're deploying a team model, but we had about 38%, if you can imagine that, deploying a discrete model. So that number was probably more around 20% even 7-8 years ago. So some of the trends are a company with a certain product or solution may not need outside sales. Related to that, Dan, we're seeing something called the hybrid model. That percentage is increased too, and the hybrid is almost what I mentioned before, where inside sales and field sales have kind of merged and there's a blurring of the line. This hybrid position is kind of the best of both worlds. It's somebody that can most of the time be at their cube, so they pick up all of the benefits of the inside piece of that, quick response to customers, making a lot of calls, outbound calls to prospects, having all those things, but with the ability to get on a plane or get in the car and go visit a customer as needed. Salesforce.com, for example, has really done a great job with this hybrid model. Most of their enterprise reps are based in San Francisco. Some of them travel 2 or 3 times a month if needed to go out and see the customer. So that's another trend. The other trend is I'll just say the profession is becoming more professional. We now have an accreditation, certified inside sales professional program that's available. And you think about it, we've come such a long way. More professionalism, higher pay. You brought it up earlier, the career pathing. People are staying in inside sales longer. And who knows what it's going to be 20 years from now, and we're not quite sure, but it sure is exciting.
It kind of reminds me, I don't know if you ever saw the training video that John Cleese's company did about a field salesperson coming into inside sales, but I think that should be a video that everybody sees here, even though it's probably 20 years old. I'll find it for you. Well, Bob, congratulations on the success of the American Association of Inside Sales Professionals. I wanted to see if you would like to tell the audience how they might learn more about that, as well as how they might contact you if they have a question to follow up. Yeah, sure. So the easiest way is to look us up on the web. It's www.aa-ISP, which stands for Inside Sales Professional, .org, O-R-G. aa-isp.org, and you can find out all about the conferences and the webinars and membership and so on. And we've grown to over 4,000 members in just a couple of short years. It's a testament to the community of inside selling professionals that they really want to take this industry, this profession, to the next level. In fact, our motto as an association is taking inside sales to the next level of professionalism and performance. Well, you guys are doing a great job. I also want to point out I love the Q&A section. I think there's a lot of good dialogue going on out there right now. So again, congratulations, and thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. It's been great to chat with you today. Well, thanks a lot for having me. Have a good day. Well, for now, this is Dan McDade signing off from another edition of PowerViews. Thank you for watching.